Okay, so let me go back to those housekeeping rules. So if you have any questions, there's a Q&A section. It should be on the bottom right corner of your WebEx. You can ask the question there, and I will call it out, or Tiffany will also respond if we don't get to it. We're also going to try to set aside about 10 minutes at the end of Randy's presentation. So if we don't get to a question, feel free to re-ask the question or hold until that 10-minute period, and we'll make sure to get to as many of those as are asked. We are going to record the meeting, as I just said earlier, so we'll send that to everyone afterward. If you've attended, you can forward that to colleagues, elected officials, your family pet, whoever you'd like to share it with, and that'll hopefully be helpful as you're prepping for Office 2019. All right, with that out of the way, let me introduce to you our host for today's virtual meeting, Randy Nordell. Randy is a professor of business technology at American River College in Sacramento, California. He's been an educator for over 25 years, and he's taught at the high school, community college, and university levels. He holds a bachelor's degree in business administration, a master's degree in education from Fresno, Pacific University, and a doctorate in education. He is our lead author at McGraw-Hill for the Microsoft Office in Practice series, which does cover Microsoft Office 365. We have an edition that covers Office 2013, 2016, and soon we'll have an edition that will cover Office 2019. Randy is a fantastic speaker. He travels the country, talks a lot about technology and integrating that with curriculum. And when he's not teaching, Randy is an avid cycler, skier, swimmer, backpacker, and I think I heard spelunker. So if you want to ask him about cave jumps, I'm sure he'll give you a couple of pointers on that as well. So with that introduction, let me introduce Dr. Randy Nordell.
Hey, thank you so much, Corbin, and thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules for this. And sorry about the mix-up last week, but what I want to do today is talk about the different Office products that are available, and just kind of help you to get your mind wrapped around 365 and the move to 2019 and the differences with 2016 and all of that. So just a little review here. Back when Office 2016 was rolled out, 365, which is the subscription product, they were about the same product. And then as time went on, features continued to be added to Microsoft Office 365. So those features continue to be added, and they were not added to 2016. 2016 is the purchase product that is a static product, just security and stability updates. As 2019 came out, what they did is they took most of the features that were currently existing in Office 365 and rolled those into and made that 2019. So the thing to remember about these is both of them are desktop application programs. 365 is not the browser-based application. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But a common confusion. So both Office 365 and 2019 are desktop applications. Office 365 is a subscription product. It's the one that gets regular feature updates and will continue to get regular feature updates throughout the life of Office 2019. This product is free to students, so through Office in Education, most of your students on their personal devices, on their laptop, are using Office 365. So there are a bunch of different Office 365 products that we'll talk about. There are different update cadences that we'll talk about. For Office 2019, it's called the on-premises or one-time purchase or perpetual product, and it does not get the updates that Office 365 does. So, and even now with Office 2019 that came out in September, there are some features in 365 that are not included in Office 2019. And I think what most of you will find is that Office 2019 is the product that's installed in your computer labs on campus. So you have your students using 365 and the computer labs having 2019. So we'll talk about how we deal with that, in just a little bit. But The other product is what's called Office Online. This is the browser-based application, so it'd be like Google Docs. So more scaled-down version, not as robust in features, but it is free to everybody. All right, so those are the different products. So if there's nothing else you take away from today, is just understanding that both Office 365, Office 2019 are desktop apps, and they're very similar products. Just know that Office 365 will continue to grow, whereas Office 2019 does not. So here's some of the new features. And again, these features have been available in Office 365 for some time. So the collaboration in the desktop app of Word 2019, that is available. That collaboration feature is not available in Excel and PowerPoint. So, and a bunch of other ones. There's drawing tools that are available in Word and PowerPoint, and really some of the biggest enhancements would be in Excel. 2016 was lacking some of these new really good features, functions, if-s, text join, concat, switch, min if-s, and max if-s, enhanced importing of different data types. The forecasting feature is amazing in Excel if you haven't used that. And that, again, that's been around in 365. So these are just features that have been readily available in 365 and just recently rolled into 2019. In PowerPoint, the morphing is available. There are a few things that are not available in 2019 that are available in 365. So the design ideas in PowerPoint, that's probably one of the biggest ones that's not available. There are some design ideas in Excel. Not going to affect things all that much, but it's kind of a cool feature that is available in 365 and not available in 2019. So most of these, if you've been using 365 all along, I think most of these look familiar to you. We just have now the opportunity to roll those into our Office 365 books for version 2019. So a little bit about the different products. And so as I mentioned before, both Office 2019 and Office 365 are the desktop applications, but there's just a lot of different products and update cadences. And I'm going to talk about all these, not to confuse you, but just to help you be aware of the different products and the different update channels. And by doing that, a couple things. First of all, it'll help you to clarify the differences with your students. And second, it'll help you to clarify the differences with your colleagues who you work with and IT people on campus. So it is good to know all this stuff. So Office 2019 Professional Plus is the one that, as instructors, we can get. Students, I can get that also, tend to get that on a discounted price. It's not free like 365, but it comes with all of the applications in it. And I got my version of 2019 through College Buys, which I think is available around the country. There is a home and student version of Office 2019 that you could get at Best Buy or wherever. It doesn't include Outlook or Access. And again, 2019 just gets the stability and security updates, not any feature updates. Office 365 Professional Plus is what your students are going to get. That's what comes free to them through Office and Education, which has all the applications. They get 5 installs on different machines, so if they have a Mac, they can do it, and PC, whatever. So, and both of these, 2019 and 365, are available in Mac. Just a reminder, though, in Mac there is no Access. So that does become an issue for those teaching application courses, and there are workarounds like Parallels and Boot Camp are a couple of them for Macs where they can have a dual install, have a Windows install and install Office on that on a Mac. But then there's a business version of 365, there's a home version, there's a personal version, all these different versions. And again, not to confuse you, most of your students are going to be using Office 365 Professional Plus. Most of your computer labs will have Office 2019 Professional Plus. So that just gives you an idea, but just know that there is some variability out there. And even within 365, some of the features differ depending on which product you have in 365. So here are the update channels in Office 365. Remember, they're the ones that get the updates regularly, that has feature enhancements in the product rather than just security and stability updates of 2019. So the semi-annual, it comes out in January and July, twice a year. That would be the base level. If your institution held off on updates, and they can kind of block updates for students, they can only block it up to that point. So in January and July, those updates get pushed out, and those new features are incorporated in 365. Semi-annual targeted would be the next level. That would come a little sooner. They come about 3 months earlier, so comes in September and March. So those on that semi-annual targeted would get to see what features are going to be rolled out in January and July. Monthly would be the next one, and that's where features are getting up, or the Office 365 is getting updates at least once a month. Now, I've found many schools have that as the setting for their students. So many students are using the monthly updates. So they get to see some of the new features coming out. Sometimes those get pulled back. Those don't make it into the semi-annual target or the semi-annual release. But no, if your students are using 365, again, they'll be on Professional Plus, and most likely they'll be on the semi-annual or the monthly update channel. There's also a monthly targeted, which gets more updates per month. There's an insider track even that gets it's more of a beta testing, where it's may not be quite as stable, but there are a couple tracks of insider as well to see new features coming out. So again, Office 2019 and 365, Professional Plus are what you're going to be using either in the lab or students on their personal devices. How you figure out what version you're on. So whether you're in a computer lab, on your own personal computer, desktop computer in your office, or your laptop, if you go to the backstage view of any of the products, it'll tell you. So up there by the Office logo there, it'll tell you which product, the subscription product. This one is Office 365 Pro Plus, and it gives icons of the applications there. And then down in as I zoom in there, so that tells you which account this belongs to, because many of you may have multiple Microsoft accounts, and so that's one of mine. That's my educational account, actually. And then down here in the About area tells you which version you're on, which version and build. And a little way to kind of decipher the version is the first two numbers are the year, so 2018. The next two numbers are the month. So this would be the build in September, or the version in September. And then the build number changes as those updates come out. So you could check by looking at the backstage view on any of the Microsoft products. It's going to be the same across all of them. If you have Office on your computer, they'll all be the same version and build. So kind of nice to be able to look at that if your student comes into your office and their Excel looks a little bit different. You can look and see, oh, they're on the monthly channel, and this one here does say that, just a little bit older screenshot. So what all this means for you is, we say this as we are rolling out the books and the SIMnet content. What this means for you is that we got it covered. As we've been doing in SIMnet with Office 2016 365, we note the differences between the products and create alternate instructions for those. We will continue to do that as we roll into Office 365 in 2019. So where differences exist, there will be instructions that will help the students differentiate whether they're using 365 on their personal devices or 2019 in a lab setting. So we want you to know, as a company with SIMnet and the textbooks, we got it. You don't have to worry about all of the different versions and builds and stuff. It's nice to know that stuff, but no, it will be built into our products when there are differences that exist. And so you may be wondering about the timing of products. The standalone introductory content in SIMnet, you'll be able to see that as early as January. We'll start rolling out pieces of that introductory office level content, and For the In Practice series will come next as development continues, and so come mid-spring you'll start to see the In Practice series being populated by chapter throughout the spring, and with more and more being added every week or every couple weeks. And then the print version of the office level book is expected to be available mid-spring, and we'll continue on with the advanced content, and that will come later spring, early summer. So by fall, when you start your classes, if you decide to roll over to 2019, your computer labs are going to do that. We will have everything ready for you. I plan on using 365 version for the fall, and our campus will be moving to 2019 in the fall. I think the transition will be made over the summer, so probably not ready for summer courses, but we will be moving. So just know that we know the differences exist. We know this is really confusing stuff. I get confused. I'm in it every day. I kind of live in this, and it's confusing to me with all these different products and updates. So anyway, I hope that is helpful. If there are any questions that I can answer, I would be glad to do so.
Yeah, thanks so much, Randy. All right, so if you have a question, there is a Q&A section in the bottom right corner of your WebEx screen. You can type that question in, and I'll read it for Randy to answer. And I don't have any Jeopardy music while we wait, so I'll hum if we need to. But.
And while we're waiting, while the questions are coming in, couple other differences, things that are not included in 2019 that you may see already on your Office 365. Autosave for OneDrive files. If you're working on a file for OneDrive in 365, the autosave has been available for quite some time. It's not available in 2019. The researcher in Word is not available in 2019. The editor pane, which that is switched over, that's for the spelling and grammar. The name is different in 2019. So a few of these weird little things, design ideas in Designer and PowerPoint, ideas and some data types in Excel, and then real-time collaboration is only available in Word and only when working on SharePoint files, so the business or education OneDrive.
Okay, Randy, we've got some questions hot off the press here. So the first one is from Marcy, and she has a question for those that are using the 2016 version, I assume, of SIMnet. Are they still good going forward? Meaning
Absolutely.
The transition to 2019. Yeah.
Absolutely. Our content in 2016, our SIMnet content in 2016, we continually update that. So when those semi-annual updates get pushed out, we kind of know what's going to be included on those because we have the targeted version. So we have all the changes all ready to go. And so when those updates get pushed out in January and July, we push out those changes to SIMnet. So they get rolled in. So if there are instructions that are different in a project, we make those changes. If some screenshots need to be replaced, we do that. Simulated content in the sim book, we update those simulations, and those would be in the test banks as well. So yes, and it'll be totally fine with if you're using 2016 content, and really if you know, in that in-between stage, if somebody had 2019 on their computer for some reason, which again is essentially the same as 365, it will still work. So most of your students are using 365, which is that in-between or more like 2019 than 16, but it'll work just fine.
Awesome. Okay, next question is from Sherry, and her question is, if the school is using perpetual license, are they essentially put into Office 2019 as of now with the 365 perpetual license?
Correct, yeah. So 365, they use the term perpetual for a while, which is really confusing because that almost seems like the other one, but they call it on-premises or one-time purchase version. But yes, if the school is doing that, they're rolling out updates. So the lowest level they would have of updates would be the semi-annual updates, and that is 2019. So yeah, so if your students are using 365, that is essentially 2019, and it works fine with the 2016 content in there right now. As we roll in and get this new content in SIMnet, the 2019 content, it will just add in those features that weren't included the last time around, so in 2016. So yes, it will work. So I've spoken to a couple. This is a small minority, but a couple professors I've spoken with around the country actually have 365 on their lab computers on campus, and again, not nearly as common. Almost all of them, over 90%, are using 2019, but some schools do use 365 in their lab setting.
Awesome. Now, Randy, if you could, can you give us again the differentiation between Office 365 and 2019 in terms of features?
Yeah, we could actually go back here, and let me see if I can. Oh, so the difference, I mean, these are the feature updates here that'll come. The biggest ones so far that we've noticed in there are the autosave in OneDrive, all OneDrive files. 2019 does not include that. The biggest one that we found that makes things difficult is in PowerPoint, and it's the design ideas and designer pane, which is a really cool, awesome feature in 365. For some reason, I have no idea why. It's been available in 365 for a long time. For some reason, it is not in 2019, which is kind of a shame because it is a great feature. Ideas in Excel is another one. It's not one that you would use all the time in Excel like you would in PowerPoint. It looks at data and gives you ideas for charting it or pivot tables, things like that. And I think real-time collaboration is the other one that has been available in 365 throughout the applications and is not available in Office 2019.
Okay, thanks, Randy. Now, I think I've got just one more question from Casey. She wants to know, she says she has some students that have reported not having access available to them with their free student Office 365 download. Do you know anything about that issue?
Yeah, that's an interesting one because, and I think that is changing because in the past, my students, when they downloaded the Office and Education 365, it did not come with Access or Outlook. Now, just this semester, because I'm teaching an Access class, just this semester, my students said, oh, it came with Office 365. So in the past, what I've done is those that are taking an Access class, I had them go and buy the discounted 2019 or formerly 2016 version through College Buys, and they get that for like $40. So it's a really heavily discounted Office 2016, now 2019 product, and that does come with Access for sure. Have your students, and hi Casey, by the way, I know we've spoken before and interacted many times, but have your students check it again because I was just alerted this semester that through the Office 365 in education, the students do have Access. So something to check. Again, it is an issue with Mac, and I may not have hit this point enough, but know that in SIMnet, we have Mac, everything for Mac as well, Mac projects and all of that. So students can use Mac or Windows machines interchangeably. I don't even ask my students what they have. I just say, hey, if you're using a Mac, use the Mac instructions. If you're using a Windows machine, use the Windows instructions, and it works seamlessly.
And a follow-up question from Sherry on Access is, do you know why they don't include Access on OneDrive or have an online application for Access?
Yeah, you know what, I don't. It's probably kind of a similar reason that they don't have it with Mac is they just, I really don't know. They just don't include it on there. It's not, one of the reasons, Access is not used all that much out in the business world. Access is a great teaching tool that comes with the Microsoft suite of software so students can learn relational databases, but when they get out in the real world, they're going to be using Oracle or SAP or some of the other large databases or proprietary databases within their company. But it is a great learning tool just so they understand queries and relationships and all of that. So yeah, they don't include it on Office Online or Office for the Mac.
Awesome. All right, another question from Barbara. If we're using SIMnet Office 2016 in practice, Will the simulations feature Office 365 instructions so the students can relate to what they have on their personal devices?
Yeah, what will happen is we're writing for Office 365. So because we wanted it to be the most current, we don't want our software our content to be behind. We're writing for 365, and we'll differentiate where those differences exist. So if in a simulation that there is a feature in 365 that does not exist in 2019, that will be noted in the textbook and in the sim book. In projects and instructions, we make note of that and do workarounds so that students can still do the same thing and still come up with the same solution file. So we do have workarounds for that, and we take care of that, as we've been doing for the past 3 years with the 2016 and 365 content.
Excellent. Does anybody have any last-minute questions? I've got 1 minute left on the board. Oh, it looks like we have one from Karen. Where do students go to use Access as a workaround for Mac?
Okay, so 2 that I would recommend are Parallels with an S and Boot Camp. So those are both products, third-party products that a student can purchase and install on their Mac, and what it basically does is creates a window partition. So, and they're Parallels. I haven't used Boot Camp. I'm somewhat familiar with Parallels. Parallels is really easy, and you can purchase it for, I think it's around $80, and they download it, and that comes with the Windows install. So it installs that Windows partition. Then the student would install Office on that Windows partition on their Mac. And they could get the Office 365 for Windows and install it on there. So if they're taking an Access class or had an Office class that had an Access component, they could do all their work on their Mac for Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all of that, and then as they transition to Access, they could do that partition, Parallels or Boot Camp, and I think their VMware, I think, also has it, but I'd probably do the first 2, Parallels or Boot Camp, and use Access for that as a workaround for using a Mac.
Excellent. Well, hey, guys, we're at time. We're happy to stay on, but don't feel obligated to stay past 4:30. We know your time is valuable, and we do appreciate everyone for attending today. And thanks, Randy, for your insights and information.
You're very welcome.
Stay on. Yep.
Yeah, and thank you all for attending, and my email address is on there. Feel free to email me if you ever have any questions. I'd be glad to get back with you. I'm in the classroom like you guys are every day, and trying to wrap my head around all these changes.
Randy's a brave man. He gives his email address out. And we also did throw our email for the CIT product team in the chat. That's mhe.cit@mheducation.com. So you're also welcome to email that address, and that'll go to all of the editorial and marketing side of SIMnet if you have any questions that Randy either can't tackle or doesn't get back to you on. But he's pretty good at responding. But again, thanks everybody for your time today. It was great to have you. We'll email a link to the recording for attendees. And if you have any other questions, we'll hang out for another minute or 2 just to answer those as well. Have a great day.
Thank you.
And Randy, I do see one other question here from Sherry that popped up. She's asking if there's any plans to include other Office 365 apps in training with SIMnet, like Microsoft Teams or Delve.
You know, at this point, we might at some point include some modules in SIMnet. It would not be a full textbook or anything, and it wouldn't be until after all the the new 365 2019 content is included in SIMnet. Yeah, we've been asked about Teams. We've been asked about OneNote is another one that's a common request. We do have some content for Outlook in SIMnet, as well as a full Outlook textbook in the In Practice series. So keep those requests coming, and if you're interested in creating something, we would love to partner with you. We love collaborating with other instructors around the country.
All right, I think that was the final question. So again, thanks, Randy, and thanks everybody for joining, and have a great rest of your day and evening.
Thank you. Goodbye.